Hello, it's December, let me think, the 15th. I was last here on the 9th, the day before my operation. I wanted to come back on here and catch up with you all. I've had so many lovely messages on here, on Facebook, which I still must reply to, and Instagram. I've caught up with the Instagram ones. So many well wishes, really means a lot. You know, I've talked to so many of you over years or more recently, real life friends. So it's been really lovely how much people have been, their thoughts have been caring. It's just lovely. I've oddly been enjoying, oddly I say, because maybe some people don't like the recuperation, but I never ever take time out, even if I sit down. It's just like for like half an hour here at the most during the day. I'm always on the go, always busy. So to take time out, this has just been a real treat. And no makeup on, so my skin's actually rather enjoying it. I haven't even put my earrings back in. I put this one back in, we'd kind of pierce it again, because obviously you have to disrobe before an operation. Nails still aren't done, so I'm quite looking forward to getting me back on. The war paint, I love the colour on my face and whatever, but I'm not being shy about showing you what I look like in reality, especially since I now know I'm as beautiful as Nicola Sturgeon. I'll explain what I mean if you haven't read my Instagram post. I'm going to tell you what I've been up to, you know, some of the things I've been reading and doing, because I know you love that, and there might be things you want to do or look and read. Oh, an ambulance has just gone past. Hope people are okay. Flashy lights. So I'm sitting here by the window so I can be a curtain twitcher on the sofa by the front room window or the sitting room window. So yeah, I was going to talk you through the operation bit because it was like a British sitcom at its best. I found it funny at the time, and I kind of like when things are an experience. So yeah, the team, NHS team, all the nursing staff, they were just amazing. They were just such lovely people, reassuring you, chatting to you. So I'm waiting in day surgery. Apparently it's a private company that pays them all on a Saturday now, trying to clear, you know, the COVID backlog. Oh, and before I say more, I must scan down just to see my jammies. Look at these vintage print jammies that my eldest daughter Rosie gave me. She said they were for Christmas Eve, but she gave them to me early, and her sister's ones that she got her early. So they're just really lovely. I couldn't face putting anything on around my middle until yesterday. I've got 4 wounds, one sort of just where my bra band sits, one above my belly button, and then 2 holes sort of on the side. So yeah, it felt a bit sore around my tummy putting anything on, so I was just wearing really all I've got is sort of negligee kind of thing, so without trying to be sexy, that's what I had on. I mean, yeah, obviously I look as sexy as a pile of poo at the moment, but that's what I was wearing for comfort in my dressing gown. So now I've got my lovely jammies on because I had a shower last night, and yeah, I put my beautiful jammies on, so I thought you might like to see those. So where was I? Yeah, so I went in for the operation on the day ward, and the morning people were coming back, and there was 2 older ladies opposite, and I mean, like, for an hour and a half they were still zonked out. Then they felt nauseous, so needed anti-nausea stuff. You know, it's all like normal, but of course for me I'm thinking, oh god, that's obviously where I'm going to be at. And then unfortunately they didn't shut the curtain as this lady's wounds all split and there was blood everywhere, which I really didn't need to see just for my operation, as I was starting to get a bit, because I was told, oh, you won't be going down till about 3ish, and I was there from 11. And they said, don't get changed till you need to, which I was really glad didn't do, because the minute I put my gown on, my brain went, I don't want to be here, it's real now. And I thought, I just want to run away. And then I thought, get a grip, because you run away, they're not doing this, and you need this done. This gallbladder needs to be gone. So I had a word with myself. And you know, obviously it was busy with different people coming, surgeon, anaesthetist, nurses, people chatting to you, doing this, that and the other. And the nurse that would look after me in theatre was this really lovely, I can't remember her name, which seems awful, but this lovely South Korean nurse. And I say South Korean because that might be why she got my alter ego mixed up, perhaps. But she was so kind, but really eccentric and funny. And she took my bed down first. And then she said, you're really lucky because normally a porter would take you to, you know, the room before you go into the operating theatre. But she said, you've got me. And she walked me down. She linked my arm up in hers and sort of patted my hand all the way. And then we stopped to have a chat with a friend of hers, a surgeon. They had a chat in Arabic, and then he wished me well and everything. He was really lovely. And she told me he was her friend and he was teaching her Arabic. And then we go into the pre-op room, and all she could do was tell me how much she didn't like the anaesthetist. She kept saying, oh, well, you know when you meet someone and you just take to them. Well, this is her face. She's like, well, not him. I didn't take to him. And I said, well, I've got to trust him. He's the man who'll be keeping me alive in there. And she was like, and I said, well, I really don't need to hear. And then as that goes on, I could hear shouting, loads of shouting going on in the operating theatre, which obviously worries you somewhat, because when you think, how come someone's coming around in the operating theatre? And I said, I don't like it. What's that noise? So she goes to look, and she comes back and she stuffs pillows over either side of my ears, puts her hands there and says, you don't need to hear this, Lisa. I'm thinking, oh my God. And then she then explains it's a man who's deaf. They've taken his hearing aids out. I still don't know why he's coming around on the table. So I think, just don't even think about that. And then she takes off, you know, because my cloth mask was on. She takes my cloth mask off. And the anaesthetist is behind me, and the theatre nurse, Jenny, was lovely. They're standing there, and she says, oh, you are so beautiful. You look just like Nicola Sturgeon. And I went, are you sure? I mean, Nicola Sturgeon's short with spiky red hair, and she's Scottish. And no disrespect to Nicola Sturgeon, she's perfectly fine looking, but I genuinely think I look a little bit better than Nicola Sturgeon. But it was just a really weird, funny thing to say. And so then she said to the, she is beautiful, and to the nurse, so they all were saying she's a very beautiful lady. So it's like, it's just really funny having this fan club of seeing how beautiful I am around my head. And I don't seek out praise or whatever, so it was just a bit bizarre and funny. And then she puts the oxygen mask over my face, and the anaesthetist starts to talk through, you know, thinking nice thoughts, Lisa. And then he says, oh, where's the thing? I don't know what the thing is. I'm not giving you the bird, by the way. Sorry. The thing they put on that finger, you know, to monitor you. And she'd forgotten it. So I see her roll her eyes at him and look at him with contempt. It's just like, you just shouldn't be showing your loathing of someone in your team, should you? But she couldn't conceal her feelings. So off she goes to get it, and they stop the process of knocking me out. They go and find it, clip it on my finger. They start trying to knock me out again, and he says to her, you haven't switched it in, you know, the thing that would tell all my oxygen, my blood pressure. So she clips that in, and he says, stop talking now, to her, to which she rolls her eyes. Yeah, you couldn't make this stuff up, could you? And then mask over my face, and he says, just keep your eyes open, then I know when you're out. And I don't remember anything after that. So that was good. So it clearly worked and knocked me out. And then, yeah, I came around in recovery. You know, it's like coming down the end of a long tunnel with someone shouting your name. And I came out of the end of the tunnel to a lovely nurse called Sam. He was shouting my name. And, yeah, I looked at the clock. It was 5:30. And then he said to me, well, the day surgery closes at 7, so they're going to admit you to the general hospital. You'll have to stay in overnight. And I thought, no way. I want to go home. I want to go home to my cosy, happy home. Thank you very much. So I told him that, and he said, right, well, let's make it happen. So he started doing like after recovery stuff soon. He said, right, let's keep filling you up with water because they need you to wee and eat And yeah, we eat and drink before you can go home. So we were drinking lots of water, and by the time he'd got me back on the main ward where I'd been watching the ladies who'd struggled to wake up, I was already there dunking ginger biscuits in a black coffee. Minutes later, went and had a wee, shouted, "I've had a wee, it's really good," and got myself dressed. So yeah, I think I was on that bit for about half an hour at most before my love was there to pick me up. I didn't have any of the wooziness, the sick feeling. I was just out of there. So that was really good. But, you know, I felt really tired and wiped out since. But that might be because I've not done things. So, yeah, it's all gone really well. But, yeah, a thing I dreaded actually became a thing that I actually found quite entertaining for some of the humour involved. So I thought you might like to hear that. Now then, what have I been doing? Obviously, I've been enjoying the Christmas tree and the Christmas music, having a mince pie each evening, a little mini mince pie, you know, getting in the festivities. I've been flicking between reading. I have been reading, it's probably back to front, Murder at the Theatre Royal. I think I should do an overhead to show you these, shouldn't I? So I should do that. Right, so I'd started reading Murder at the Theatre Royal before, so I'm kind of dipping into that. This is set in the, I believe, the late 30s. But it's the Christmas Eve production of Scrooge, and someone dies. So it's got, you know, hints of Agatha Christie. So that's really fun, and it's a female reporter. So that's really good. I've read this one before. It was recommended to me by Jane at, I'll put the link up because I can't remember. It's terrible. Jane's a costume designer and costume lecturer in Brighton. She's just wonderful. Anyway, she recommended this book to me and I just ate it up. The Great Christmas Knit Off by Alexandra Brown, and I love the quote in the beginning for the knitters out there. Let me flick through. Oh, there's the, show that to you in a moment. Here's the map of the village it's set in. And to her nanny Edie, who always loved a good knit and a natter session. This is the quote: "In the rhythm of the needles there is music for the soul." Good quote for the knitters out there. And it focuses on Tyndall and the character she meets there, the main character who goes to there from London. But there's this lady who's 83 called Hetty Honey, lovely name, and she owns her house of haberdashery. There, and obviously all the wool and the stories. It's just so lovely and warming. So hardly recommend that as a feel-good book. Then I've been going through my Agatha Christie, N or M, you know, from Tommy and Tuppence Beresford. So really been enjoying this. This one is set in the seaside in the 40s rather than at Cromer in the 1950s as the recent dramatisation. So reading that, 3 books, I mean, how greedy can you get? And then this one came, which I couldn't resist, so I ordered this as a treat to me. This vintage fashion, and look at the colours. The end is pink and the front is a pale aqua. My colours. It's just the most amazing book. I'm trying to get the angle right. Here we go. So I can show you this book. So it's forward by Sandra Rhodes, and it goes through from 1900 to the 1990s. And oh, just beautiful, beautiful. This lady, I think she's amazing. I can't remember her name. What is it? She's a model, Dina Zade, and I mean, she's just beautiful, isn't she? She features a few times. So you will go through and have pictures from the periods. Each one does this early innovations and talks about the designers of the time. And I mean, the close-ups are beautiful details. I've had lots of ideas already looking through this book. They talk about the silhouettes of the time. This is the lady Dina Zade. My pronunciation not so good. And then it will give this overview of key looks of the era. Let's just flick through to here's the 50s for you. And there are other ones in the series of 30s. Oh, it's just a beautiful, beautiful book, really worth getting. And I think we'll just come back to me while I talk about that. The light's changing now. No, it really is an absolutely beautiful book. It's fabulous. I heartily recommend it. And the other ones in the series are vintage jewellery, vintage handbags, vintage knits. I think there might be vintage shoes as well. Definitely a couple on my list. Look at my hair. Can't say I'm looking my most fine. It doesn't matter what my hair's doing really. So yeah, they're just really lovely. I've got other books coming. I've also ordered Linda, who is vintage knitting. I'll put the link up again. Slow brain at the moment. Linda is the most amazing vintage knitter, and she brought out a book called Tyrolean Vintage Knits, and the vintage tourists as the models in there, as are some other ladies I know. But I've got that book on order too. It looks marvellous, so shout out, and I will do a little mini review on here for you. So that looks exciting to have a look through too. My knitting has been coming on a treat. I don't think I've ever had so much time to knit in my life. I'm trying to get it here to hold up for you. The Hortensia cardigan. Can you see? I've done the body. I'm now working on the collar. I did start, can you see there, on the sleeve, and I was going to do one sleeve, then the collar, then another sleeve, because knitting the sleeves I find a bit tedious, but they need to be done. But this wool just knits up a dream. I bought the Elsa hood pattern from Tyrolean, and I showed that to my mum and she'd like one too, so we'll be knitting that. I get terrible earache when I go out for walks, especially by the sea, and to have something that I can have around my neck like a scarf, and then I've forgotten a hat, and I can pull it up and keep my ears warm, that will be a beautiful addition. So yeah, various projects on the go with knitting and inspiration on what I'm looking at. And as you can see, I don't like florals. Yeah, and the curtains as well, and oh, there's an orchid there. Yeah, don't like florals at all. Shame I have to live with them, isn't it? Tomorrow I am really hoping I'm well enough. I bought tickets before Christmas for us to go to Blickling Hall, the National Trust House. It's decorated for the 1930s, and then it's their Festival of Lights. I borrowed a shooting stick from my mum, and being as, yeah, we used to live in the countryside, my dad used to go on shoots many years ago, so shooting stick to rest my bum on, not to kill anything. I'm the one who would honk the horn if I go past shoots to put the guns off, because I don't agree with it. But I have the shooting stick, so I'm hoping we're well enough for that. I shall wrap up warm, and I also want to go to Felbrigg Hall, which is also decorated for Christmas. I adore Felbrigg Hall, and there's carols around the Christmas tree, and that evening is a carol service in a church. Fingers crossed I can do these Christmassy things I want to do, and then maybe next week I might be allowed to drive. Ooh, and I'll have some independence. So my youngest daughter's coming home tonight from uni, so she'll be back home, and my oldest daughter is just working crazy hours till midnight, and then next week 6 at night till 6 in the morning. Such is the nature of making sure that food is on the shelves for anyone who wants to shop at Marks and Spencer's. Having worked one Christmas there myself, I know it's a lot of hard work and long hours. So be nice to them if you go into the food shops. They work hard. Anyway, that's me done for this Vlogmas, and it's a bit longer because, yeah, I had a few days to catch up on, didn't I? So until soon, I wish you well, and I will be back in a few days, or maybe tomorrow or whatever. Who knows? That's the nature of these things. Bye bye.